Peters of Peters Wealth Group.
Hey, welcome in.
Offers insurance
Tuesday
services
edition
to
Bruce Hooley
investment
Show just about to
investors
kick
are
off. We are in
offered
commercial on radio, and we'll be coming out of that very, very soon. I think I hear the band warming up. Indeed, I do. So sit tight, and we will be off and running momentarily. Thanks for joining. Look forward to talking to you for the next hour. Well, there's a lot going on today. Hunter Biden trial, opening arguments, Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, in front of a House committee. But before we get to that, we always start, if we have local news of import, and we do have a lot of it today, that's where we'll begin, a Tuesday edition of the Bruce Hooley Show. Thanks for joining us. The violence started early in Columbus yesterday, 1:30 p.m., shortly after our Monday edition closed. A person was shot to death in an apartment complex on Buffalo Court. 2 people were shot, 1 died. But we were just getting warmed up, because last night at a park where they were having a vigil to mourn the death of the 18-year-old girl who was killed over the weekend, Demaya Cummerlander, 2 people who were at the park. We don't know if they were at the park to mourn her death or if they were just unfortunate, wrong place, wrong time victims. They were shot at the entrance to the park at Crum Park. Where's Crum Park? Crum Park is on the east side. Crum Park is kind of airport-ish area, kind of Bexley State Fairgrounds, airport, like center of that. If you draw one of those Venn diagrams that Kamala Harris likes so much, it'd be over in that area of town. 2 men shot and killed, and whoever shot him and got away was a really good shot, because both were dead when the police showed up at the park. They didn't even attempt to resuscitate them at the hospital. One is according to reports, likely a juvenile. So we have an 18-year-old girl shot to death, another juvenile male, and another male, and about, 50-ish people show up to mourn her death, and 2 of them are shot and killed. I wish I could say I'm surprised. I'm not surprised. Neither should you be surprised. This is the city that Democrats have given us. 3 terms of Andrew Ginther, 3 terms of Michael Coleman. It didn't used to be like this. We used to be one of America's great cities. We are not one of America's great cities anymore. We're a city in decline. We're a city in decline because nobody wants to go downtown anymore, because nobody wants to get shot. Nobody wants to get killed. And that's just the cold, hard truth of it. I feel bad for the people on the east side. I feel bad for the people in the Hilltop. I feel bad for the people in Linden. But in some respects, you bring this on yourselves. What would happen if we had a candidate for mayor and you're stuck with Ginther for the next 3+ years because you just got elected in November? But what would happen if the next time there's a mayoral election in Columbus, a candidate would campaign to say, I'm going to do all that the law allows me to do to put every single violent criminal offender in jail for as long as I can. I can't do it alone, so I need you to elect this city law director, and I need you to elect this Franklin County prosecutor, and I need you to elect these judges. And we are going to stop this crap if you elect us. Now, you'll never get a Democrat to say that, of course. So you'll only be able to enlist Republicans to do that. And if you have an R on your name on the ballot, would that person stand a chance of getting elected? Anybody optimistic that could happen? I'm not. You shouldn't be either, because the best indicator of what's going to happen is what has happened. And Columbus has voted for these kinds of policies, for these kinds of judges, for these kinds of do-nothing prosecutors for far too long. And the principle of sowing and reaping applies. You get what you sow, more than you sow, later than you sow. You allow a little bit of violence, you allow 10,000 car thefts, You get juvenile court judges who say it's racist to put car thieves in jail because the car thieves are overwhelmingly young black males, and they're not stealing cars because they are young black males and young black males are predisposed to crime. They're stealing cars because the policies of Democrats have not delivered for people in poverty in the city of Columbus, and desperation makes you do desperate, dumb things. There's nothing racist about commenting on the demographics of who is doing the crime. But there is something racist in the policies of the people in power who are overwhelmingly, well, I can't really say they're overwhelmingly white, because the president of city council, Shannon Hardin, is black, and a lot of the people on city council are black. Merrick Garland's white. Zach Klein, the law director, is white. There's nothing racist about pointing out the disparity in crime numbers, but there is something racist about saying, well, you can't put them in jail because it's unfair to expect them to obey the law. I don't think it's unfair to expect people to obey the law. It's not hard to stay out of the back of a police car. I've managed to do it my entire life. But if you don't fear consequences for actions, and if you allow gang beefs and drug crimes and stolen car crimes and all these kinds of things to proliferate, you're going to get people murdered who show up to mourn the death of a murdered girl. And we got it last night. And Andrew Ginther was probably playing golf at the time the person was murdered at 1:30 p.m. And there's just, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't live in this city. I live out. I live rurally. I don't want to deal with this. I don't want my kids to deal with this. I cringe on the few occasions that my daughters or my wife enter into an area of the city that I feel is unsafe. And that pretty much, if you built like an interstate loop, what, in some areas of town, like 2 miles inside I-270, but in other areas of town, like on the south side, like right where I-270 is, like I'm pretty sure my family and myself are safe in Dublin. Pretty sure we're safe in Hilliard. Getting sketchy as we work our way down to Grove City, getting real sketchy as we work our way down to the south side, getting super sketchy on the east side, out by Whitehall. What are you going to do? Until you vote differently, you're going to get what you vote for. And that same thing applies to the rotten education. Poverty abounds because people don't achieve. People don't achieve because they're getting rotten educations. Families been destroyed by the Democratic Party policies of the Great Society, which have torn apart the black family. I've said all this before. I feel at risk saying it again because it's like, I've heard it. I'm going to turn the dial. I don't want you to turn the dial, but me talking about it, does it change it? No. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about like the possibility that money thrown at downtown bike paths and summer recreation programs and splash parks and all the millions of dollars wasted on those programs. I say wasted because they could be better spent on giving our police the kind of pay raise that our firemen deservedly received last night, 18.5% pay raise. Great. But if you want to stop this nonsense, you've got to attract police. But that's not enough, because police aren't coming here if they don't feel like they're going to have the support of the city administration, and they absolutely, positively do not have the support of the city administration. And if you are an intern or somebody new in the Franklin County Prosecutor's Office and you go in there hell-bent to prosecute crime, you learn very, very quickly that the people above you who have power over you do not want you to prosecute real crime, even when the cases are open and shut. This should infuriate you as a citizen, but it clearly does not, because you continue to vote for these people. And you continue to vote for all Democrats on the Columbus Board of Education. And you continue to prize intersectionality when it comes to who your Columbus City Schools superintendent is. So tonight they're going to have a Columbus Board of Education meeting, and they're going to give free food and a tailgate to attract people to come, because I'd do that too if I was ideologically aligned with the teachers union. You want to pressure Columbus Board of Education into not closing school buildings, because that will end jobs for your union members, and you don't care about kids, you care only about the number of jobs for your union members. And so tonight, 2 hours in advance of their board meeting, they're going to give away free food, hot dogs, hamburgers, and stuff like that. People are poor. I don't blame them for going. It's organized by a group called All In for Ohio Kids. If the unions are behind it, it's not All In for Ohio Kids. It's All In for teachers unions. And the cycle is going to continue. Maybe the board will be talked out of closing buildings, which would streamline the district, because they don't have the enrollment to justify the buildings being open that are open. But you'd have to cut jobs, and the union's never going to stand for that. So the more things stay the same, the more things stay the same.
This afternoon, the high today 88. Cloudy tonight, a shower, low 68. Clouds and showers, heavy thunderstorm for tomorrow. Could see some flash flooding and damaging winds.
So frustrating, man.
Partly sunny, breezy.
We have a glaring lack of leadership in this city, and it used to be such a great city. I used to not want to tell people what a great city Columbus was, because I didn't want to move in here and ruining it. And they have moved here and ruined it.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MetaShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MetaShare to pay for healthcare can save many families $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MetaShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MetaShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. MetaShare more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton, like it better. You're happy with all the care of your healthcare. If you're self-employed or part of the gig economy and different plans are happy with it, you can call that and in 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart move. Here's the number you need. 844-41-BIBLE.
One service is in tune with your needs. It's time to get the kitchen of your dreams. Update, upgrade, uplift with Kitchen
Whoa.
Tune-Up. It's amazing what a cabinet refacing will do to liven up your space. In and out in just 1 week with no demo. And keep in mind, if you're thinking of selling, a gorgeous kitchen can significantly increase your home's value. 0% financing is available right off Wilson Bridge Road in Worthington. Go to kitchentuneup.com for a free in-home estimate. Update, upgrade, uplift with Kitchen Tune-Up.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne,
And I'm Danica Bourne.
and we're the owners of South Coast Tax.
We started our company 10 years ago in an effort to help our fellow Christians experiencing tax issues resolve their matters by taking a simple 3-step approach.
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys that specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We're the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results. We're also a small firm who will treat you like family, not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
Proverbs 15:22 says, plans fail for lack of counsel, but with many advisors, they succeed. Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Are you among the millions of Americans living with chronic pain? If so, you may think prescription opioids are the solution. The truth is, the benefits of opioids are limited. Opioids only mask the pain. Opioids also come with serious side effects, ranging from nausea to withdrawal symptoms to overdose. As many as 25% of people who are prescribed opioids struggle with addiction. And those who are addicted to opioids are 40 times more likely to move on to heroin. No one wants to live in pain, but no one should put their health at risk to be pain-free. There is another choice.
Caller said maybe they'd have some money if they didn't go on strike the last year or so. Teachers.
They got plenty of money. They got $100 million levy in the fall. Not a money problem, a leadership problem.
Visit moveforwardpt.com to find a physical therapist near you. This public service announcement is brought to you by the American Physical Therapy Association.
I know a lot of you are still mad and hopefully will stay mad about the Trump verdict. And if you're looking for a way to fight back, I mean, number one is donate to Donald Trump. But beyond that, like, why not set up a way to send a message to the corporations that fund a lot of these Democratic initiatives? And it's not just, the Democratic Party. It's like Planned Parenthood and the Human Rights Campaign, Human Rights Commission, the LGBTQ movement. You had enough of that crammed down your throat this month yet? And we're only 3 days in. I'm talking about patriotswitch.com, a family-owned company out west. They make 450 plus products that you're already buying. You're not buying them from Patriot Switch. You're buying your mouthwash, your toothpaste, your laundry detergent, your cleaning products, your nutritional supplements, your vitamins. I know where you're buying them at Walmart, you're buying them at Target, you're buying them at all these stores that are selling chest binders and tuck bathing suits. And you, like I used to do, complain until I finally figured out a different way, a different vendor. patriotswitch.com. It's a shopping club. They ship it right to your house. They credit the shipping back to your account the next month. I'd love to tell you about it. So check it out. patriotswitch.com/Bruce, patriotswitch.com/Bruce. There is no appreciable newsworthy update on the mass shooting in Akron on Sunday night. 24 wounded, 1 dead. The cops showed up to break up the party. People didn't break up. They came back together. Somebody drove by, somebody shot, and we had 1 dead and 24 wounded. Akron's another city like Columbus. I told you yesterday. I looked it up. Akron Democratic mayor since the mid-1980s. City council, they don't even put their political affiliations on their official webpage. But you and I both know it's not a 50-50 Republican Democrat. It's a typical American big city. It's run by Democrats, run into the ground by Democrats. And so they're looking for the people who did it. Will they find them? I don't know. If somebody talks, maybe. But there's a culture out there in the streets. You don't talk to the police. Maybe it's gang related. Maybe people are afraid for their own safety if they disclose any details that they might know. The reward for information is about 20 grand right now. If I knew something, would I say it? It'd be a conflict if you thought it was going to get your family killed, if you thought it was going to get you killed. I don't live in an environment like this. I'm blessed. I don't live in an environment like this. But I don't know what the right thing to do is. You would, with your better angels on your shoulder, know that you should say it, but you love your kids and you don't want the word to get out. And there's some information that a person might have that only the bad guys know you have it. So if the law enforcement officers become aware of it, the trail leads back to you. Am I optimistic somebody will get arrested for this? Less than 50%. Less than 50%. That's where I'm at on it. Now, the family of Rodney Osborne, the Ohio Department of Corrections officer who was very unfortunately shot to death in a training accident on April the 9th, has an attorney. I have no problem with this either. Something clearly wrong outside safety protocol happened. When you have a firearm, the first thing you learn is you never point it at anyone else, even when it's not loaded. That's the very first thing you learn, is that this is a lethal weapon and can do grave harm, including the ultimate harm, which is take someone's life. You never, in a joking way or in any way, even if there's not a clip in it, you don't point it at anyone else. So I don't know how this happened, and I don't blame the family of Rodney Osborne for wanting to know how and why it happened. Model employee with the Department of Corrections for 13 years. And his attorney says every safety rule was violated here, every safety rule. Should be noted, Mr. Osborne has 3 children, 14, 17, 26. I'm going to assume he's the primary breadwinner. And the official state report from the Ohio State Patrol, heavily redacted. Transparency is a thing that, in a case like this, a model employee, somebody serving the people of the state of Ohio, doing a job that a lot of people don't want to do, I need to hear a rationale for why a report, an investigative report on the death of this man, is heavily redacted. Look, I defend police officers in shootings when there are a series of bad decisions made leading up to the shooting by the perpetrator. I defend a police officer in that every single time, because the police officer, from most people, never gets the benefit of the doubt on what happens when somebody fails to cooperate, when they resist arrest, when they push back, when they fight back, when they reach for an officer's weapon, anything. From Michael Brown to Jacob Blake to on and on, to virtually every noteworthy case which the media plays up and the ones they ignore. If someone is harmed by a police officer, including the police officer, the female police officer in Minneapolis, who was sentenced to jail because the guy resisted arrest and tried to get away, and she reached for a taser and she shot him. If he doesn't resist, he's alive. And I always say, get on the ground, put your hands on top of your head, and nothing bad will happen to you. So if I'm going to take that position, and I do, then on this I have to take the position that Rodney Osborne did absolutely nothing wrong. He was wearing his bulletproof vest. He shouldn't have been shot. He was shot. What's the reason for the redaction in the investigative report? What's the reason? And his attorney wants to know that, and his family wants to know that, and I'm of the opinion that they should know that. He was wearing his bulletproof vest. The bullet hit him just above the vest line, and he died. It is still not known who fired the shot that struck Rodney Osborne in the chest. How hard is that to figure out? It's not hard. Ballistics will tell you. They'll match the bullet to the gun to the shooter. It's not hard. It's not. Look, it can be homicide and be accidental. I'm not sitting here screaming for this person who did the shooting. I'm sure they feel as bad as they can feel. They don't feel as bad as the family of Rodney Osborne, but I'm sure they feel terrible. No corrections officer, no law enforcement officer wants to have another one of his fellow officers harmed, least of all by them. But at this point in time, what are we nearing 2 months after, and we don't know who the party was who did the shooting? I don't find there to be a justifiable reason for that. I don't. Now, that's a much harder call than to say that I don't find a justifiable reason for what Joe Biden is perpetrating on our southern border. Guess what? Guess what? Joe Biden today is going to release an executive order about curtailing illegal border crossings. Something happened overnight? Was there like a massive change in the law from Congress? Were they working until midnight while I went to bed and was sleeping? Was Joe Biden suddenly given powers that he's been telling us he hasn't been able to exercise because he doesn't have them as president of the United States? He can issue executive orders. Seems to me he issued, how many was it? 90-some on the first day in office, many of which got rid of Trump's border policies because, Trump hatched it. It has to be bad, and they got to get rid of it, including the Keystone XL pipeline and all other things. Ever since that date, Joe Biden's been saying, I need more money. Of course he does. He spends money on the Inflation Reduction Act. He spends money on the American Rescue Plan, all of which escalated inflation. Why wouldn't he want more money to shut the border? He's not getting more money, but he's doing something, although it won't be effective. I'll tell you why next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. President Biden set to sign an executive order on immigration.
Whether pushing the convicted felon message is going to backfire big time on the president. Plus, House GOP lawmakers are pressing Dr. Fauci for answers. We saw the hearing yesterday. I'm hoping that they do something on the Senate side. We'll see. It's all over the COVID pandemic that killed millions of people, Americans.
firearms
The nation's former top
on the
doctor
35th
did a
anniversary
lot
of
of
the
back
Tiananmen
health
Square massacre,
petals.
China is celebrating a milestone
During
in
his
its
testimony,
lunar
Dr. Mark Siegel
and he's back
is feeling
with
the
his friend on the
is
far
in
side
focus
of the
now.
room for a statewide
Sorry, I forgot to change the commercial graphic there last time. We are in commercial. Put it back up. I got too many irons in the fire here. I got TVs on, I got laptops on, I got printouts, woe is me, right? Yeah, woe is me. What I do with that? There it is. Stapler missing. Oh, this is a happy story. $500 a day. Let's do the math on this. Shall we do the math on this? There's my calculator.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. And maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that's huge, but it's also true people are way more satisfied after making the switch too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton. I like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price within 2 minutes. See what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE, 844-41-BIBLE.
The Tilton family at Tilton's Automotive Service has been serving our community with state-of-the-art equipment for nearly 35 years. From oil changes to detailing to complete engine replacement, we're here to serve you to the highest levels and make you part of the family. All our repairs are backed by a 36-month, 36,000-mile warranty. Check out our mobile app for discounts and specials. Tilton's Automotive Service, in the shadow of Anheuser-Busch in Columbus and just off Creekside in Gahanna. For more info, check out tiltonsauto.com. Take it to Tilton's.
News, opinion, passion. Here, 98.9 FM, The Answer, anywhere you go. With The Answer's mobile app at 98.9theanswer.com. Also on your smart speakers. Tune in for iHeart.
Pain stinks. Nobody likes it. And if you roll out of bed in the morning and you wish, oh, man, my back, my ankle, my knee, my hip, I wish they didn't hurt. Well, maybe wishing will not make it come true. But you know what? A visit to QC Kinetics, their Gahanna, their Dublin clinic, just might make your wishes come true, because at QC Kinetics, they combine science and great care for their patients. And I would add selectivity, because they don't take every patient who walks in the door. What? No, they don't. Because some patients, they realize they can't help. They're not going to take your money. They're going to put you through the protocol, even though it's painless. And even though it's very purposeful, every visit designed to do something. You've been told you're bone on bone. Oh, you can't get any relief. You're bone on bone. Not true. Check with QC Kinetics on that. They offer you a free consultation, and you can take advantage of it. Set up an appointment by calling their clinic in Gahanna or Dublin. One number, 380-208-4544, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Anthony Fauci was in front of a House committee yesterday. I think Anthony Fauci might have a new career. You know, he's retired from the health department, the health service. What is he? AID, autoimmune deficiency something. I think he has a new career. I think Anthony Fauci would make a great NFL cornerback. I mean, they time people's backpedal to draft them in the NFL, and nobody backpedals like Fauci. He could also like maybe rival J.K. Rowling as a author of fantasy books. As the tale that Anthony Fauci told yesterday was an outright, blatant, downright fantasy. The best moment, the very best moment of the Anthony Fauci, and then I'll get to the Biden border thing, but you know, I can't save either of these for Today and Crazy at 12:20 because they're both just too good and too necessary for you to hear. The best moment was when a Georgia representative who is a doctor, and his name is Rich McCormick, Dr. Rich McCormick. He actually treated COVID patients, unlike Anthony Fauci. Appearing before Brent Wenstrup, who represents many of you south of Columbus in Congress, the House COVID Origins Committee. Brent Wenstrup put Rich McCormick on the committee because he actually wanted somebody on the committee who had treated patients. And there's a lot of emails out there that look really bad for Anthony Fauci. There's also a piece of tape out there that looks really bad and sounds really bad for Anthony Fauci. And here was Dr. Rich McCormick calling for that yesterday and then weighing in after it played.
When you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bull and they get vaccinated.
Thank you. Are all objections to COVID vaccinations ideological bull, Dr. Fauci?
No, they're not, and that's not what I was referring to.
Well, in reference to making it hard for people to get education, traveling, working, I'd say it very much was in context. And I take great offense to this.
Most Americans do take great offense to it. Those who were denied, I mean, if you're young, you didn't get to play in a high school tournament. Your team reached the state championship level. You didn't get to play. You didn't get to have a college graduation, high school graduation. You didn't get to hold your mom or dad's hand because they were dying and you had to like put your hand on the window and they had to put their hand on the window and that was all you got out of it. A lot of Americans suffered. I do know people who lost husbands, wives, who were young and shouldn't have died and did die. I'm not saying COVID wasn't serious, but I'm saying the way we managed COVID was botched, and the chief architect behind how COVID was botched was Dr. Anthony Fauci. And a lot of people lost jobs. Some have landed on their feet. Allison Williams, ESPN reporter, she lost her job. She wanted to get pregnant. She talked to her doctor. Her doctor said, I don't know, that vaccine, something makes me nervous about that vaccine. Could it have been that it was the fact that Big Pharma was protected from medical malpractice lawsuits if something went bad with the vaccine? Yeah, that would make me a little bit nervous. That would make me a little bit nervous. Here is Dr. McCormick talking to Anthony Fauci about the Allison Williams case.
Miss Allison Williams testified before this committee about losing her job because she sought an exemption for ESPN's vaccine mandate, which came from recommendations from bureaucrats like yourself. She and her husband were actively working with a fertility expert, a physician, on how to get pregnant, and agreed with the premise that she was young, healthy, wanted to get pregnant, and shouldn't get the vaccination for medical purposes. But she was fired because you made it hard, just like you said in your statement, because you didn't want to make sure that the ideological got in the way of her working, of living her life, of making a medical decision with her healthcare professional. I think America should take great offense to this. That's exactly what you meant when you said making it hard for people to live without getting a vaccination. You affected people's ability to work, travel, be educated, to actually flourish in American society, to self-determine, as we're all given God-given rights. Shame on you.
Well said by Dr. Rich McCormick. Now, will Fauci be held accountable? We'll have more on that at 12:35 today. We'll talk with Mahek Cook, Republican strategist, at 12:05, and I'm sure Mahek and I will have a conversation about what Joe Biden is supposedly going to do today, which is issue an executive order to make our border more secure. Ooh, yippee-ki-yay. I'm sure that'll be super duper effective. Well, it will be super duper effective. It just won't be very effective closing down our border, because the new provisions that Biden is expected to announce will allow for only up to 2,500 migrants to cross the border every single day. It's 912,500 a year before we get alarmed. Now, what will be the upshot of this? Well, we have a little principle here in the United States of America that has served us pretty well over the years, called supply and demand. The price of something is affected by the supply. If there's a lot of it, or even if there's not a lot of it, but nobody wants it, then the price is low. But if there is a shortage of something, let's say available border crossings, then the price for those who are executing the illegal border crossings, Mexican cartels, well, they tend to raise the price. Right now, it costs 10 grand to come across the border. Some people 15 grand. Lindsey Graham, Senator of South Carolina, a little concerned about what it might cost now under these new Biden provisions.
If you want the border secured and you're waiting on this group to do it, you're going to die waiting. So the policy, as I understand it, is going to be an economic boom for the cartels. This is literally some of the best things that could happen for the business of illegal immigration, because there's going to be a cap where you kind of shut it down every day. So if you're a cartel, you're going to rack and stack them. Exactly how many can get through a day. You say, who would like to pay more to move up to the line? The biggest beneficiary of this policy is going to be human trafficking cartels, who will charge more to get in the group that's going to go through. And at the end of the day, you'll have to wait longer and pay more, but you're coming in.
He's 100% right about that. That is exactly what will happen. This will do nothing. Why aren't we letting 1 million people in a year at all? By the way, the guy who shot the 2 New York cops late Monday night, 19-year-old illegal alien, he had a hearing in Chicago on May the 6th where an immigration judge closed his case. He was free and clear. He'd had other crimes on his record, but they dismissed it. He's part of the 350,000 I told you yesterday who had their asylum cases dismissed by Joe Biden's Justice Department. Here is, and it's always a good day when we can hear from this gentleman, John Kennedy, senator from Louisiana, on why Joe Biden is now motivated 5 months before the election to do what he could have done and didn't do. In fact, he did the opposite from day one of his presidency.
Okay, I want you to listen up. Here's the drill. President Biden is in trouble politically. He's polling right up there with fungal infection. Part of the reason for that is that he gave in to the loon wing of his party, and he dissolved the southern border. Now, 5 months before an election, he has to appear to be willing to do something about it, hence this executive order. And he expects you to report this epiphany that he has had, take what the White House is telling you, balance it on your noses like trained seals, and report it uncritically.
John Kennedy never minces words. He's always on target. And that's exactly what it is. The polls show it. By the way, Trump's up 12% in North Carolina. I don't know why Fox still lists North Carolina as a toss-up state. We got other polling on Biden, and we'll talk about that with Mahet Cook. But next, somebody's celebrating Pride Month like I approve of.
Sunny warm this afternoon. The high today 88. Cloudy tonight, a shower, low 68. Clouds and showers, heavy thunderstorm for tomorrow. Could see some flash flooding and damaging wind. The high tomorrow 81. Partly sunny, breezy. Shower on Thursday, the high 80. Clouds and sun, breezy, cooler. Shower and spots on Friday. The high Friday only reaching 70. Mostly cloudy on Saturday. The high at 73. I'm Steve Williams on 98.9 FM, The Answer.
Your future benefits, apply for retirement, and manage your benefits all from the comfort of your home. And give yourself the freedom to do what you want offline. Social Security's online services help put you in control.
We got all these folks together and we assembled them for that purpose. And so when we on the we put together the legal eagles. Well, you might not have had anything to do with.
Okay, where does this start?
Right, but under. Take your request, and then we'll sort of work it through the DOJ's accommodation process. Then you're actually advancing the very dangerous conspiracy theory that you're concerned about. Now, you were a judge once nominated at the highest court in our. You were a judge. You were a judge once nominated. No, and you didn't because that acts on the judicial process. Like, shouldn't someone be owed opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time who was a case that was before your court?
I'm going to say again. And another.
No, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member off of the notoriety of any case that you settled?
Say again, you're asking.
Yes or no?
You're asking me to comment.
General, I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Mershon's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're.
Have we now become one of these countries
All right.
after former chief executives? It's a big question, and let's hope the answer given there in New York is not the last word. I'm Albert Mohler.
Hi, Mike Gallagher here. Let me tell you about my friends at Innovative Roofing Systems. They're the finest, most trustworthy installers in Central Ohio. If you need a roof inspection, it's free. If you install a new roof or siding and mention Mike and this ad, you get a $1,000 discount on your residential project. Innovative Roofing Systems. Schedule your appointment today, 614-324-9797. 614-324-9797. Go to Innovative Roofing Systems, OA.com.
What does a waterfall have to do with a... How do mountains relate to... How is a... anything like... What's the similarity between... And... The answer is they are all parks, because the National Park Service isn't just about unspoiled nature. It's also about history, recreation, remembrance, and so many other things. Find out what a park can be to you at findyourpark.com.
Well, I hope you slept well last night. I really didn't last night. I got a little chemo yuckiness going on. I can't blame it on my comfort level. I was very comfortable, but I was comfortable laying awake. My pillow does the comfort part very, very well every single night. It's been doing it for 7 or 8 years, ever since I purchased my pillow at the Columbus Convention Center, back when I thought it was safe to be in downtown Columbus. Wouldn't go there anymore, but it's always safe if you're resting on a MyPillow. And it's even more affordable now than it was back then, because I paid $75 for my MyPillow. And I got a good deal. I mean, look at that. It's like, what, $10 a year to sleep? Divide that by 365 days a year. It's well worth it. 8 hours a day? Come on, like per hour. What am I paying for my MyPillow? Well, now the math is more in your favor, because the MyPillow itself, king size, queen size, any fill level, is $25. It's part of the $25 sale at mypillow.com. Towel sets and slippers and slides and other items. Get 3, shipping is free. mypillow.com, promo code Bruce. I cannot resist, when I'm armed with more John Kennedy audio than I've already played for you, the Louisiana senator weighing in this morning in the halls of Congress about Joe Biden's plan to announce today executive action on the southern border. Joe Biden getting real serious about doing everything he can to pump up his flagging re-election hopes. Trump has now raised over $200 million. They say by the end of the week, they think it'll be $300 million off the lawfare verdict in New York City. So Biden's got to do something. I mean, maybe he'll ask Alvin Bragg. This is the Babylon Bee suggestion. They said today Biden might ask Alvin Bragg to charge him with a couple felonies so he can help keep up on the fundraising side. Well, I mean, we got plenty of attorney generals and prosecutors around the country who could charge Biden. We just don't have a totally corrupt system in Texas or even Florida where we could pull off what they can pull off in New York or California against Republicans. But I digress. John Kennedy, Louisiana senator, not a big fan of the Biden plan to limit illegal border crossings to 2,500 a day. So when the turnstile hits 2,500, then Biden can do something to shut down border crossings for the day. Not period, end of story, that's it, that's all you're getting for this month or even this week. No, just for the day. And then, line up, camp out. We'll start it all over again tomorrow. Here's John Kennedy on Joe Biden's border policies, past and present.
For 3 years, we have watched President Biden push on a door that has been clearly marked full. He's mismanaged Congress, COVID, the national debt, the economy, inflation, crime, Afghanistan, Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, and now, of course,
all true,
the border. And every time, I think the president has hit rock bottom. He has managed to find a shovel and continue to dig. Hence, this executive order. And I think that's what the American people see.
That is what the American people see, because the American people are not stupid, even though Democrats think the American people are stupid. They see the idiocy, the lunacy, the damage done to our country by these Biden border policies. And they see a director of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, who will do nothing remotely close to the charges inherent in his job. And they see a Justice Department that is inept and corrupt, not just on the border, but on the way they chase down parents at school board meetings and people who go to Latin Mass, and of course, Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. Merrick Garland's in the hot seat today in front of a House subcommittee, the Judiciary Committee. Matt Gaetz, Florida, who can be a clown, but can also at times effectively question corrupt Biden officials. Here's Matt Gaetz going after Merrick Garland this morning.
You were a judge, once nominated the highest court in our country. When you were a judge, I'm just curious, did you ever make political donations to partisan candidates? No. And you didn't, because that would create the potential appearance of impropriety.
I didn't, because there's a federal rule barring federal judges from making contributions.
Right, but under that same theory of attacks on the judicial process, like, shouldn't someone be owed like a jury of their peers and a judge that's non-biased, rather than getting a judge from your political opponent's donor file?
I'm well aware that you're not asking a hypothetical. You're asking me to comment on a jury verdict in another jurisdiction, which has to be respected. I won't comment on it. That case is still ongoing. The defendant,
Mr. Attorney General, I hadn't asked you about the verdict yet. We were getting there. I was talking about the judge. And so let me ask you this question about your time as a judge. Was there ever a time when you were a judge when you had a family member who was personally profiting off of the notoriety of a case that was before your court?
I'm going to say again, very clear, you're asking me to comment on a case in another jurisdiction.
No, wait, hold on, Mr. Attorney General. Did you ever have a family member profit off of the notoriety of any case that you sat over.
Say again, you're asking
Yes or no?
me, you're asking me to comment on a case currently.
Well, it seems you're connecting the dots, Mr. Attorney General. I'm just asking you as to a general principle, but you are aware that Judge Mershon's daughter was profiting off of this prosecution. You are aware that that creates the appearance of impropriety. You know the very reason there's a federal rule against judges giving donations is because it is the very attack on the judicial process that we're concerned about.
Matt Gaetz, he's got him dead to rights. Garland won't answer. And by the way, there is a New York rule, not at all unclear, that judges can't donate to political campaigns. And I've heard idiots like Richard Fowler on Fox say, that was only $35. That's the point, is that Mershon, who has the means to donate more, donated to specifically send a message to two anti-Trump organizations and Joe Biden's campaign that I'm firmly in with the Democratic agenda. Okay, it can get depressing, but let's laugh a little, shall we? You know, we are in the month of June. You know what June is co-opted into being a celebration of all things LGBTQ. It is jammed down your throat at every turn. But in Idaho, a bar owner came up with a unique promotion.
Hey, my name is Mark Fitzpatrick, owner of Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho. Our saloon has become the heterosexual headquarters. We launched Heterosexual Awesomeness Month in June. Monday is Heterosexual Male Monday. And if you're a heterosexual male and you come in here, you get a beer for free. There's no strings attached. We'll call it Beers for Breeders. Wednesdays, if you're a heterosexual couple, you get 15% off your entire bill. And on Thursdays, all day is Her Hetero Happy Hour. So heterosexual awesomeness is basically an opportunity to celebrate God's design for man and woman and that sexual attraction between them. Idaho's the reddest state in the country, as you know. We've got so many people here who are like-minded and who want to do what's right. They want to do what's moral. I think that this country is ready to stand up and say, hey, enough is enough. Let's stand for things that are right and true and godly. Everybody is welcome to come here and help us celebrate Heterosexual Awesomeness Month.
Yeah, baby. They're also selling Heterosexual Awesomeness t-shirts. How has this gone over? Oh, can you guess? LGBTQ+, which is all about diversity and inclusion, right? Here's a quote from the gentleman you just heard from. Since we announced Heterosexual Awesomeness Month, we've had significant backlash, theft of our property, vendors refusing to fulfill our orders for ingredients, wedding catering cancellation, libel, slander, even the owner being falsely accused of being a sex offender. But to the credit of a community that is rational and reasonable, we've also received so much support from like-minded people who want to celebrate Heterosexual Awesomeness Month. Yeah, great idea.
This is Josh Pick with Aptus Wealth Management. The U.S. and the world have certainly changed a lot in the last few years. We're facing money dangers that we haven't seen in a long time, maybe ever. Inflation continues to be a problem. Interest rate increases have made purchases like cars and homes seemingly impossible for some, and retirement looks like a scary proposition. For many, it appears to be a dire situation and has left them paralyzed and fearful. You are not helpless, and there are ways to gain back control. At Aptus, we help our clients navigate the labyrinth of retirement planning and educate them on how to make appropriate choices for their individual situation. Whether you have never met with a fiduciary investment advisor before, or you just want a second opinion, we're here to help. Call our office today at 614-917-1040 and learn how a cost-free complimentary meeting may be the key to putting your money to work and your mind at ease. And don't forget to listen to the Aptus Blueprint Radio Show Friday evenings at 6, Saturday afternoons at noon, or call our office today at 614-917-1040.
All right, let's get started.
Find us at 989theanswer.com. Download our apps. Stream us 24/7. WTOH and WTOH HD1, Upper Arlington, Columbus.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm John Scott. President Biden will sign an executive order, an order that would shut down entries to the U.S.-Mexico border once the number of daily encounters hits 2,500 between ports of entry. Daily figures are higher than that now. The border would reopen once that number declines to 1,500. GOP Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana says the executive order is another example of Biden's incompetence.
He's mismanaged Congress, COVID, the national debt, the economy, inflation, crime, Afghanistan, Iran, the war in Gaza, the war in Ukraine, and now, of course, the border.
That signing scheduled for early afternoon. House Speaker Mike Johnson argued that Biden is only taking initiative on the issue due to recent polls that suggest immigration is a top concern for Americans. Also at townhall.com on Capitol Hill, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan of Ohio says the Department of Justice's track record on several issues is deplorable.
This is the same Department of Justice whose Civil Rights Division has done nothing to address the attacks on Jewish students at college campuses. This is the same Department of Justice who can't tell us who planted the pipe bombs on January 6th, who leaked the Dobbs draft opinion, and who put cocaine in the White House.
Attorney General Merrick Garland rebuking what he describes as the unprecedented attacks on the Justice Department. During the House Judiciary Committee hearing, Garland condemned what he said are baseless and extremely dangerous falsehoods being peddled about the FBI and slammed threats to defund the special counsel prosecutions of former President Trump. The Dow is down 63 points, the NASDAQ 69 points in the red. More at townhall.com.
Partly sunny, warm this afternoon. The high today 88. Cloudy tonight, a shower, low 68. Clouds and showers, heavy thunderstorm for tomorrow. Flash flooding and damaging wind. The high tomorrow 81. Partly sunny, breezy, shower on Thursday. The high 80. Clouds and sun, breezy, cooler, shower and spots on Friday.
Sorry, I forgot. Hour number 2 of the show streams on the Bruce Hooley Show Facebook page and on the 9890 The Answer Facebook page. I got to end this segment here. I'll post vignettes later on today. And I appreciate you guys joining. I hope you have a great Tuesday. Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.